So, you want to know how you can constantly slam husks of any kind into the ground, doing pretty good damage, as well as not consuming really any energy for the melee I'm using? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be going over a loadout for the Guardian's Will, which allows you to pretty much spam its heavy attack pretty much infinitely, just as long as you're getting kills. So I'm going to be going over the perks as well as the loadout for this weapon. So let's go over the perks for the Guardian's Will real quick. We are running critical rating, heavy attack efficiency, we are running nature, we are running armor because, well, I suck and it helps with melee, and critical damage. And for the 6th perk, we are running every hit grants 8 armor, which helps out a lot because it just allows us to pretty much survive without losing really any health at all whatsoever, which is pretty useful for the loadout that I'm going to be running. And speaking of the loadout that I'm going to be running, so just let me go over the loadout real quick. We are running Paleo Luna in the lead, we are running Blast from the Past as our team perk, we are running Southie for extra energy. We are also running Prehistoric Izza just to activate Blast from the Past. We're running Forged Fate so we can spam our heavy attack more oftenly. We are also running Cuddle for, of course, more energy, so when we kill we can spam our special ability even more, and Survivalist Jonesy to stay alive. So with all of that being said, I guess I should probably, explain why I'm running the perks I'm running on the weapon I'm using, as well as the heroes in my loadout that I'm using. I am running Paleo Luna for my commander, and the reason why is pretty simple. It's, she's just really good. I'll be honest with you, if you want a really easy pick for a melee hero that gives you lots of extra damage, she's one of the best, if not the best, I would say. Because what makes her really good is that you probably would just go with Blast from the Past anyways. Because of how melee works, you're going to be, of course, having to, of course, take a bunch of damage from all of the basic enemies, beehives, pitchers, gunslingers. So having, Paleo Luna in the lead plus Blast from the Past as the team perk is just honestly a really, really good, simple, and easy combo to use for really any melee in the game. I decided to use both Prehistoric Izza as well as Southie. Southie, pretty simple, gives us extra energy so we could spam the special ability of the Guardian's Will more often. And then Prehistoric Izza for that armor. Armor is very, very underrated, I'll be honest with you. Especially when it comes to melee, because it basically reduces the amount of damage that we take by, and, well, I guess an X amount, because it's kind of similar to crit rating in the sense where it's more of a score. So the higher the armor is, the more damage resistance you get. So it's just because you have 100 armor doesn't really mean you get 100 damage resistance. But the more you have, of course, the better it will be in general. So that's why I'm running, of course, a bunch of different armor perks on this loadout. I'm also running Forged Fate, again, pretty straightforward, like Southie, just to make sure we can spam our ground slam attack more often. I'm also running Cuddle for pretty much the exact same reason. Every time you get a kill, you get 7.5 energy back, which basically means if we're only spending around, I think it's 13 or so energy, I do believe, per use. As long as you get 2 kills minimum, you could basically pretty much, I guess, pay itself off, the heavy attack, which is really good, because you could basically just spam it for mobility, and if you land between 5 husks, there's pretty much half your energy back instantly, around there, at least. And then I'm running Survivalist Jonesy, because, well, survivability, I kind of need some of it, at least, for this loadout, and even though I'm just running him as my main survivability, he actually does pretty well, especially when comboed with all of those armor perks that I have. I think I have a total of around 3 different armor perks, or perks that give me armor. So yeah, I'm really tanky, so I'm taking reduced damage, And then that little bit of health Survivalist Jonesy gives me actually makes a pretty big difference. Now mind you, I think honestly probably switching Forged Fate for probably something like Dennis instead, for even more health, I think probably would make this build really good. But I kinda wanted to make a build with Forged Fate, honestly, because I just think honestly she's a really underrated hero. And I just felt like using her too, because why not? So for the gadgets I'm also running, I'm just mainly running Adrenaline Rush. You could run like any other gadget, like Soul Field, Banner. Those two are pretty good, especially if you are playing a lot more defensively, you know, or have a limited lobby size. So both of those gadgets help a lot, but you don't really need any specific gadgets if that's what you are wondering. You don't really need gadgets with this loadout. And now I guess I should probably talk about the perks for the weapon I'm using. So of course, like I mentioned before, I am using the Guardian's Will. It is the medieval sword, if that's where what you are wondering, and that's where you could find it in the collection book. I'm running nature, of course, on the weapon, obviously, because we're in a water season. If you don't know, basically, you know, certain seasons in this game for fencers will sometimes switch the element, well, I guess the main element of all if not most of these zones. So most of the zones might be water, nature, whatever. This season is water, so that's why I'm running nature. I'm running a kind of like a simple crit build. So critical rating with damage. I'm running armor to keep me alive, which is why I'm running both a normal armor perk as well as just a, you know, the 6 perk also being armor. Now, I know that an attack speed build does synergize a lot better with the armor 6 perk, and I do get that. But this isn't really a loadout for the main attack. It's mostly a loadout for the, you know, the secondary. So as much as I would like to run attack speed, it doesn't really do anything to synergize with the heavy attack, which is a little sad, but it is what it is. And last but not least, the last perk I'm running for the weapon itself is heavy attack efficiency. Makes sense, this is a loadout based around the heavy attack of the Guardian's Will. It just makes sense to run that as, of course, one of the, you know, one of the main perks on the weapon. But other than that, that's pretty much all of the perks for the weapon itself, as well as the loadout. I guess I should go over some techniques and strategies on how you could use this loadout efficiently for 160, besides, you know, just spamming it infinitely. So if you want to maximize the overall DPS of this loadout for single targets, make sure instead of spamming the heavy attack, you just use your main attack. You sometimes see me, like in the gameplay here, that I'm just using the main attack rather than the heavy attack, and that's because it has a lot better single target DPS. So if you are trying to fight a smasher and you're using this loadout, don't spam the heavy attack, just use the actual weapon itself and just slash them until they die, because it is a lot slower. You can also counter ride huskies just by doing the slam attack, so you don't really have to worry about those guys really ever when you are just spamming the heavy attack with this weapon. You can also just run a completely different weapon too as a secondary as well. I know this build might not be the strongest when it comes to, you know, high health single target enemies, like smashers mainly, but you can always just use a secondary weapon of your choice, like rather that just be another melee, or just a completely different random, like just a rocket launcher too. That also works really well too with this build. So you have basically your main weapon that gets rid of crowds, and then just a random weapon that just gets rid of those big boys. If you're playing in a mission with exploding death bombs, I would suggest slamming and then jumping back whenever you do kill a husky. It takes a bit to get used to, but it does play around death bombs incredibly well, and I did test this build in an exploding death bomb mission, and it did perform well, but yeah, you did need to do some unique maneuvers like that to be able to play around death bomb. But other than that, that's all of the random little tips that I have to offer for this video. If you enjoyed the video, think about maybe liking or subscribing. You know, it helps out the channel a lot, especially with the fact that I'm a very small content creator. If there's something that you enjoyed about this video, maybe think about leaving a comment. And also share this video to anyone that, you know, likes Save the World. They'll probably enjoy this video. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. So, see ya.